Everyone, welcome to the Strategic Revenue Cycle live Facebook feed that I'm doing today. Appreciate you all being here and looking forward to going through this and giving you some insight on how to make marketing more effective for you in your business, and looking forward to help make that happen. So let's kind of start with tell you a little bit again about myself in case you don't know. A lot of you know me from BNI. I'm an executive director with BNI in the Hudson Valley area. I've been doing that for over 20 years. I've also been a business consultant, and I'm a trainer and speaker. I travel around the United States and all around the world working with small businesses on helping them become better and become more profitable. And I've been doing that for 25 years through a company called the Proactive Leadership Center. What I really focus on now is more leadership development and business development, and focused on things like that. But over the years, I've really focused on marketing, sales, customer service, management, leadership, really working with businesses on helping them become more profitable in what they're looking to do. What I find is many small businesses are very good at what they do, right, at their technical aspects. So if I'm a plumber, if I'm a chiropractor, if I'm a lawyer, it doesn't matter. You tend to be very good at that. But most small businesses aren't good at the business side of the business. So a lot of times they go to get involved, they just don't understand the marketing, the sales side, and really how to make that better for you. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So before we get into this, let me first ask, strategic revenue cycle. Have you ever heard that term before? And if you have, please in the comment section right now, write yes or write no, so I have an idea of how many of you have heard of the strategic revenue cycle. And if you have heard about the strategic revenue cycle, how many of you have heard about it from me versus maybe from somewhere else? And that gives me an idea of how many of you kind of an idea what it's talking about. So let's kind of start with my mindset when I'm working with a business. Okay, when I look at a business, I really look at there's 5 main aspects to any small business. 1 is marketing, 2 is sales, 3 is customer service, 4 is management, which I consider process and systems within the business, and 5 is leadership. You can continue with that. You can talk about, the leadership, then there's communication and teamwork development and those different things that come in. But those are kind of the 5 aspects that really bring the business together. But then we look at it and say, okay, what are the aspects of the business that really generate revenue for you? Okay, and that's what I call the strategic revenue cycle. The only 3 areas of your business that you generate revenue is in marketing, in sales, and in customer service. And the idea is that you want to make the strategic revenue cycle is about putting a cycle in place or putting a cyclical system in place. Whenever you put systems in place in a business, you want to make them cyclical. You want to make them feed into each other. So let's kind of talk about that for a second. Every business in the world, no matter what size, if you're a small business solopreneur sitting at home, or if you're IBM or Apple or whatever other huge company it might be, okay, in the end, you have a marketing department, you have a sales department, and you have a customer service department. Now, if you're a small business, you happen to be the head of the marketing department, the head of the sales department, and the head of the customer service department. In other companies, they have like these different departments that are going on. The problem becomes, even at large companies, a lot of times they don't have a strategic revenue cycle in place. They have what we call silos in place, right? They have the marketing department that works in one silo. They have the sales department that works in another silo. And they have a customer service department that works in a third silo. And the problem becomes they're not communicating with each other. They're not because they're not cyclical, they're not helping feed business to each other. The point of the strategic revenue cycle is for marketing to feed sales, sales to feed customer service, and then customer service to feed marketing again, which feeds sales, and then it kind of continues all the way through. And that way you have a system that's always self-sustaining and feeding itself. Let me give you an example of a non-working strategic revenue cycle, or one that doesn't exist in a company. Have you ever gotten maybe a coupon either in the mail or emailed to you or from a website somewhere of a certain sale or promotion going on in a store? Let's call it a retail store. Let's say it's a clothing store. Could be Macy's, JCPenney, whatever it might be. And you get that, you go, great, I'm going to go down to the store. And you go down to the Macy's, the JCPenney, maybe even Best Buy, and you go and you get the product, and you go up to the person who's going to check you out, and they check you out, and then they're about to ring you up all the way, and you say, wait a minute, what about the discount? And they say, what discount? And you say, well, the promotion that you have going going on. And then you show them the coupon and they go, oh, okay, like I didn't know about this. What that means right there is that marketing did not speak to sales, right? You have the marketing department doing all this time, effort, money, spending all this money and putting all this effort forward to create people to get them into the store. And then they're in the store and these salespeople in the store don't even know about it. And that's happened, I think, to all of us when we're out doing business some places. You don't want that to happen to you, especially as a small business. So you want to put a strategic revenue cycle in place so your marketing is feeding your sales is feeding your customer service, and your customer service feeds back to your marketing. So let's talk about how we do that. How do we go about doing that type of thing? Now, if you think even by mistake that you have some type of strategic revenue cycle in place, please put that in the comments. Put in there like, yeah, we have a way, we have a strategy, a way that we're really having our marketing feed our sales feed our customer service, and our customer service feed our marketing. If you think you have that, great, put that in so I have an idea of how many of you don't. If you don't think you have, say, ain't happening right now, okay? And we'll go from there. So let's first talk about how we make this work. Well, the first thing that you have to have really happening in your business is you have to have what we call a core philosophy and focus of your business. Now, let me tell you what your core philosophy and focus is not, okay? It's not to sell your product or service. You're there to satisfy needs of the customer. That's really what you're there to do. You want to satisfy their needs. And in order to satisfy their needs, you have to make them focus on what we do. In one of my businesses, the B&I business that I have, we talk about being member-centric. Because our business is about membership, about having members in, they pay for a membership, and then it's about us giving them as much value as possible so they can get great value out of the membership and they want to continue and stay for a long time. They make money, I make money, everybody's happy, right? That's an important part. So if we stay member-centric, and what that means is, if I'm staying member-centric, means every decision I make, every idea we come up with, we say, how will this benefit the member? Will this create more value for the member? If we don't think it'll create more value for the member, then we have to question right there, should we continue talking about this or not? Is it really worth talking about because it's not creating value for the member? We may think it's creating value for us, but if it's not creating value for the member, in the end, it's really not the right thing to be talking about, right? So that's kind of, do you have that kind of a core philosophy? Do you know what that focus is so everything you do has a consistency in a way of thinking and putting together your marketing, your sales, and your customer service, okay? So that's the first thing you have to have is what is your focus, what is your core philosophy, because everything has to come out of that, all right? So let's talk now about marketing. I'm going to give you several questions I want you to ask yourself about your marketing so you can see how you're doing with it, okay? So number one is your marketing focused on the client's needs? Not on selling the product or service, but on the client's needs. Is your marketing focused on the client's needs? Think about that first. Second question, is it creating an emotional tie that needs to be fulfilled? So in your marketing that you have going out there, and when I say marketing, I mean if you're doing radio, television, direct mail, website, emails, banner ads, I don't care, whatever else it is, any type of marketing medium that you're using, are you creating an emotional tie to the needs of your customer? And the problem is that so many of us look at our product from our perspective and we say, oh, here's all the features and benefits of our product. That doesn't help the customer. We have to understand that when someone buys for an emotional reason, and we have to engage them emotionally if we want them to take a next step. We'll talk about that in a second. Third question I want you to know is, do you show the problem that you solve? In your marketing, okay, you're creating an emotional tie to their need, which means they have some type of problem. Do you show that you can help solve that problem for them at an emotional level, right? Not at a transactional level, right? A transactional level is somebody's like, oh, I think maybe I should get life insurance. And you say, I can give you life insurance. That's a transactional type of marketing or conversation you're having versus an emotional conversation or an emotional tie to it. Why does somebody want to buy that life insurance? What is the benefit for them? Why do they need it now versus they didn't have it before? Those different things, it's getting them to think differently, getting them to think deeply about the reason they want to buy. Here's why that's important. When you get them to think at that level, right, you're creating value in their mind, because it means you know a lot more about your product or service. And when you're instilling that into me, I'm realizing, wow, this is a person I want to work with. They're making me think about this product or service in a way I never did before, and they're really helping me with that. Okay, so that's really important, is to ask the right questions to get them to that emotional tie to your product or service. Next question, what is the next step you want them to take? So in your marketing, when they see or they experience your marketing material, your whatever it might be, what is the next step that you want them to take? I know what you're saying. I want them to buy, right? That's the whole point of marketing, is to get them to buy. Well, no, that's the end result of the marketing. That's not the next step you want them to take. An example I'll use is, have you ever watched what's it called, the Home Shopping Club, or the Buyers, whatever it is, where they sell those products? Oh yeah, these cup, you know, this is an amazing mug. You know, it reminds me, my grandfather had a mug like this. And when he had this mug, you know, we used to go in his backyard and we used to go fishing off the back dock. And I remember that he'd make me some hot chocolate, and we'd sit there, and they're just so lovely. And I think these are beautiful mugs. And for all of you, okay, why do they do that? They're talking about basic products, and they have two people on there, and they're talking about the product and the way it's made. But they get into these emotional stories, because you kind of go like, oh, that's true. My grandfather used to do that. I used to have that. That's an emotional tie. So they're getting you, they're tying you in. They're saying, yes, I want to buy that product or service. It's a great product or service. I want to buy that. So what's the next step? Well, they're watching you on TV. So is the next step to get them to buy? No, that's not the next step. They can't. If the next step is buy, then what they do is they start yelling at the TV. Okay, I want to buy it. Sell it to me. Sell it to me. They can't do that. What is it they have to do? They either have to go online or pick up the phone and dial the phone number to order. So your next step that you want in your marketing is the next thing they need to do in order to get to the sale. So if I'm watching that at home, the next step may be get him to pick up the phone. Not even to dial the phone, get him to pick up the phone. If I get him to pick up the phone, then I know he's going to dial, then I know he's going to talk to one of our people, and we're going to be able to sell him what he's looking for. Okay, so you got to think about what the next step is. You're looking at your marketing. It's not sales. You got to think about where the people are when they're seeing your product or service being marketed, and what is that next step you want them to take? Why should they do that? And does your marketing lead them to that next step? Is it out there? You can say, well, that's what I want them to do, but is your marketing leading them to doing that? Are you explaining to them how to do it, why to do it, what they need to be doing that way? Marketing can become very complex, and this isn't easy. I'm just trying to give you the questions. So if you're going to create a marketing campaign, okay, or you're going to create some type of marketing collateral to put it out there, you have to have these in mind when you do it. Either if you're doing it by yourself or you work with a marketing person, these are great conversations to have and questions to go through. The next one is your marketing feeding your sales? Because that makes it a cyclical system. So if you're getting your marketing, is it now feeding your sales? So now you're making the sale and the person moves on. So let's move on to that step. Now we're talking about sales. By the way, if you have questions as I'm going along, if you have doubts, anything I'm saying, please put it in the comment section in caps. So as I go back at the end, I'm going to make sure I answer all those questions for you. Okay. Next is sales. First question: are you building a relationship during your sales process? Your sales process is not to sell product. Your sales process is to build the relationship, to see if they need your product or service, to see if you're the one to fulfill it, and in the end, to see if you're a match so they will buy it. So what you want is you want to build a relationship during that process. That relationship is extremely important, because even if they end up not buying from you, they may end up referring you to somebody else, because it may not be the right time, or you may not be the right product or service for them for whatever reason. So it's important to understand is that even though you may not make the sale that day, you've built a relationship for future sales or future business. So is your sales process, right, is it building a relationship? Second, is your sales process about them, about you or your product or service? So in your sales process, you really want to be focused on, let me find out what their real needs are, what they're looking for, why this is important to them. And C, is the way that we do business, is our product, our service, and the way that we do business a match for them? And if so, then you're there to introduce that to them and show them that you are a match for each other. It's not about selling your product or service. It's about making sure you're bringing the client on for the right reasons, and that you can fulfill their needs in the way that they're looking for. Okay? That's what keeps everybody happy. Third question: are you allowing them to sell themselves? Are you sitting there and kind of like keep telling them the features and benefits and why it's good for them? Or are you allowing them to discover that this is the right thing for them? And we're going to talk about how to do that in a second. Okay? And how much are you talking and how much are they talking? This is a big mistake in the sales process and really in the strategic revenue cycle, is that salespeople think they're supposed to talk. And salespeople are not supposed to talk. They're supposed to get the client talking. They're supposed to get them doing the right things. So the way that you do is by asking questions, getting them to start explaining to you what their problems are, how they want it resolved, why your product or service would work for them. If you get them doing that, now they're there kind of really talking through it, and you're in control of the conversation, but they're talking most of the times. General rule, most salespeople are speaking 70, 80% of the time, and the prospect speaking 20, 30% of the time. You want to flip that, right? You want to flip it that they're speaking 70, 80% of the time, and you as a salesperson are speaking 20, 30% of the time. You're getting them to talk it all out and start to convince themselves why they should do business with you, okay? Number 5, remember, you must be in control, but make them feel that they are in control. During this conversation that you're having with them, it's really important that you're controlling the conversation. And you do that by asking questions. You do that by probing. You do that by getting them to talk, but talk within the context of your questions. They feel that they're in control because they're talking and telling you things. They feel they're in control of this conversation. The reality is you are, but they don't even know that. That's a key factor to help building that trust and relationship. Where are we? Number 6? Number 6, allow them to tell you why they should buy from you. So literally, as you're going through the sales process, you can ask them that question. Let me ask you a question. I'm sure you're looking at other companies or else. Why would you want to do business with me over them? Why do you think we would be better than them? Let them explain that to you. If they don't know, they don't understand, then you need to have a further conversation with them. You don't need to sell them on you. You need to continue the conversation until they start to see the value in you over somebody else. Because let's remember, if they're looking at you and some other people to buy something from, your price is not the issue. Value is the issue. So let's even say that your product is $500 or $5,000, whatever the number is, and your competitor comes in at $100 or $1,000 less. So I'm at $500 and they're at $400. So I have to make a $500 sale, right? That's what I've got to do. No, that's not what you have to. You're not making a $500 sale. You're making a $100 sale. Because your competitor is at 400, you're at 500, you have to show $100 more value than they do. Not a $500 in value, $100 more than they are. So how are you going about creating that value? And it's the sales process you go through, the questions that you go through, that you ask them and make them think deeper, that they say, wow, this guy, this gal is pretty smart. I want to work with them. They really care about me. I want to work with them. That's where that value gap is then closed down. They want to actually pay you more because they feel they're going to get $600 or $700 or $800 worth of value from you instead of just $5. Okay. Next question. Where am I? We were 6, 7. Has trust and confidence been built? Has your sales process built trust and confidence all throughout? Okay. If not, then that's what you have to focus on. By the end, if these people don't feel like they really trust you, then you're not going to make that sale. So it's got to be a trust process all the way through. And again, even if they don't buy from you, the trust could lead to future business with them or with somebody else they refer to you. And number 8, are they excited to take the next steps? By the end of this conversation that you're having, it shouldn't be you convincing them. It should be them really psyched up to work with you. They trust you. They like you. They want to make sure that you're actually doing that. Okay? Now I'm going to move on to the customer service. I don't mean to be moving so fast, but I promised you a half hour and I want to answer some questions. So write these down, and then if you have additional questions after, you're welcome to contact me. Let's go to customer service. Number 1, what is their expectation coming from the sales process, right? In the delivery process itself. So when they come, now they've purchased, now they're coming to you. Have they been prepped by sales of how the delivery process will work? What are their expectations going into that? That's a combination of how they were handled in the sale and what they were told is going to happen in the next step. That transition is extremely important because this is where true customer service begins and that deeper relationship continues. This is where customer loyalty begins. Okay, so you have to make sure that what are the expectations that they have, and then you have to fulfill those expectations. Is your customer service at a stellar level? If not, you've got to get it to a higher level. Let me give you an example of bad customer service, and it's not even that bad. I go to a Subway a couple times a week because I don't eat meat, or I eat some fish, but I'm out, when I go out to lunch, I go to Subway and I get a vegetarian sandwich and stuff like that. I've been going to the same place for years, 2 times a week, maybe even 3 times a week sometimes. And I go in there and they hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Do you know I've gone all this time? They know who I am, but they don't know my name. Do you know why? They've never asked. They've never asked my name. How crazy is that? I'm one of their most regular customers. They don't say, hey, by the way, what's your name? Hey, Frank, good to see you. Once you're in person with people, face to face, and you get someone's name, there's a different level of loyalty and relationship there. I feel more important. How do you not ask someone's name when they walk into your retail store, right? Are you doing those type of things? Are you building that relationship, building that trust in terms of that? Is that, to get to stellar customer service, what does that mean for your business? Does your process allow you to build a relationship with them, not fulfill the order? Your delivery process, is it a relationship building process, or is it a delivery of fulfillment? You just give it to them, okay, great, thank you, see you later. Or is there a process they're going through? Any questions that they have? Anything that might happen along the way? Are you questioning them before and after to make sure they're happy, they're satisfied, they understand their product or service, how it's going to work, if they have problems, what to do next? All of that is about making them feel great. You're bringing them in. You've taken their money now, so now it's a matter of saying, hey, we want to take care of you. Have you really taken care of them? Especially in the first buy, in those weeks or months after, you want to make sure they understand that you want them as a long-term relationship, okay, not just as a one-time transaction, all right? And the next one, have you anticipated and fulfilled their needs? If you've been in business long enough, you know the different problems, concerns, whatever might come up. During that delivery process, that fulfillment process, have you asked them the right questions and gone through to anticipate needs or concerns they might have? And if you point out problems they may have down the road, they're going to appreciate that and be like, wow, I never thought about that. Wow, I never thought about that. So you're pointing out things to them to look out for in this product or service before they go forward. And if they come across those problems, how to contact you back or how to resolve it. That's anticipating my needs and means a lot to me, right? And the final thing, have you given them a reason to do more business with you or refer people to you? Have you given them a reason to do more business with you or refer people to you? This is where it all comes down to, right? So if and that reason is from the marketing to the sales to the customer service, now you're delivering, that they are so happy with the way that you treated them. And I don't mean that you got your product or service, you were there on time and delivered as you should and did a great job. That's not impressive. You know what's not impressive? That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you got paid for. If you got paid to do something for me, I expect you're going to show up on time, do it right, not have any problems, be finished on time. Whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to fulfill all those promises. That's not the impressive part to me. The impressive part is how you treated me, how you made me feel through the process. If you do that, that's at a different level. Anybody can just deliver well, but how can you be stellar? And if you do that, you give me a reason to now want to do more business with you, to talk well about you. That's now about word of mouth marketing, about me saying, I want to work more with them. And now all of a sudden you've gone from marketing to sales to customer service, back to marketing, back to sales, and the cycle is going. That's how the strategic revenue cycle works, that you do such a good job with all of these in this process that one feeds the other. Now, I'm sure as you can see, I covered a lot in a very short amount of time. And this is a program that I go through with companies. It could take 2 to 3 days. We really develop this with a company. I'm trying to give you meat and potatoes in about 25 minutes. So you have something. So you have some great questions there. If you have further questions, feel free to email me directly. I'll be happy to answer those for you. Post them on here right now. But if we don't get through them all, then you can email me directly. I'm happy to help you with that. And you can email me at frank@bnihv.com. So let me see what questions we have and go from there. Okay, if you do this and it doesn't work, when do you know it's time to walk away from a prospect? That was from Akil. Thank you, Akil, for asking that question. And I guess the question is, my question back, Akil, would quickly be, when you say if you do this, and when you say this, does it mean the whole process? Does it mean the customer service point? Now, are there those customers that are just, no matter what you do, you are not going to satisfy them and it's not going to work? The answer is yes. And I'm a 3 strike and you're out rule type of guy. If I know that I'm doing it right, I'm going the extra mile, and I'm just not going to satisfy them, you know what that really means? They're not a match for you. They're just not a match. And it's time to fire your client. Now, I don't literally mean go and say you're fired, but fire a client means say, you know what? It doesn't seem like that this is, you tell them that it's not working out, and you find them someone else to work with. You bring them to somebody else. You transfer that problem to somebody else who may be able to work with them better. So you've, even in the transition of it, you've taken care of them customer service wise, given them to somebody else, introduced them, and helped that relationship. Now, what they do with that person, how well that works, that's okay. But obviously, if you've really gone the extra mile, yes, there is a time you have to cut your losses and say, this isn't going to work for me. So that's a fantastic question. Thanks for asking that. Let me continue up here and see what other questions that you have. Okay. Please repeat question 3. Okay, question 3, I'm assuming of the sale, I think that's when it came up, is, so question 3 of marketing was, do you show the problem that you solved in your marketing material? Question 3 of sales was, are you allowing them to sell themselves? Are you allowing the prospect to sell themselves? And number 3 in customer service, in case that's what you're talking about, is, does your process allow you to build a relationship with them versus just fulfill their order? Okay, so hopefully I've answered that question for you. Next one, and that was from Marcus. Thank you, Marcus, for asking that. And Vin from India, what should be your actual marketing budget? Is there some sort of formula to calculate your percentage? The answer is yes, there is, but it's different by many different industries. There's standards for that. It can go anywhere from about 3% to 10% of your kind of gross income that goes in your business. It depends on your business. Sometimes it's higher and sometimes it's lower. It depends on what you're doing, and it depends on the marketing mediums that you're looking at. What I would recommend is in each industry, you'll have industry associations, national or international associations. They should have those numbers for you and tell you about what you should try and plan as your marketing budget, right? As a general rule, if you're talking about, you know, the average of businesses across the country, whatever it is, which is very hard to do, it could be anywhere from 10 to 15% as a range. But again, that varies depending on industry. But great question. Let me go up a little bit more. Any other questions here? So here's a funny one. How do you cover so much material in a little time? How do you talk so fast? Well, look, I'm trying to stay high energy here. I know you guys have, you know, I'm trying to make this in 30 minutes. I'm trying to make it of great value to you. And I know I'm covering a lot of stuff. And obviously it's being videotaped, so you can go back and see this, because all the questions, you may not have gotten them down. But pretty much about 10 minutes after we do this, it's a video you can look at, and then it'll be kind of be living forever here, and we'll put it up on YouTube and that type of thing. Look, I really appreciate everybody being here. I hope you're getting great value. If you could do me a favor, and in the comments section, just write in what was the one best thing that you got out of today's session. If you just write in right now, the greatest value for you today was what? Was it the whole concept? Was it something out of the sales, the marketing, the customer service? What was the one greatest thing that you got out of today that hopefully made this worthwhile for you? I'd really appreciate if you could write that in, because it gives me an idea what you're looking for. Also, I'm going to be doing probably every other week a business Facebook Live. So if you have an idea of something you'd like me to cover in different aspects of business, please write that in. Hey, Frank, can you cover this in the future? And it allows me to put that together for you. Okay, because again, I've worked with so many businesses over the years, I can cover all different aspects of business for you. And we can get into this even deeper if you like. But hey, everybody, thank you so much for being here today. If you need me more, again, email me at frank@bnihv.com. I'll try and answer any questions that I can. Again, please put in what the greatest value you got out of today, and if there's anything else you want me to talk about in the future. Thank you so much. And if you want to go to see my personal website, it's frankduraffele.com if you want to go see that. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the day, and I hope to see you in a couple weeks at my next Facebook Live. Take care.